Hello, my friends. Jimmy Apple here from the Apple a Day podcast, brought to you by www.famousapple.com. How you feeling this week, my friends? Are you feeling better? Are you feeling stronger? Good, I'm glad to hear it. I just wanted to drop by and give you a little preview of what we're going to be talking about this week on the podcast. People feeling that our lives are miserable because we're disabled. I don't know about you, but I don't think my life is miserable. I have to do things a little bit differently, but it's not miserable. I was in a restaurant over the weekend with my wife, a small family place here, and we're eating dinner, and there was a table next to us, a couple of young guys. They weren't being disrespectful, not in the least. They were enjoying themselves, and we were enjoying ourselves, talking and joking and laughing. And one of the fellas got up, and he came back, and he leans over to his buddy and says, I give that guy a lot of credit. He says, I don't know how he gets around or how he can deal with being in a wheelchair. It didn't bother me. I mean, I've had other people say other things. I didn't think about it anymore until we got home that night. And, people look at us, the disabled, and think our lives are miserable. But you and I both know that's far from the truth. All right, so we have a physical disability. When we first became disabled, yes, it was traumatic. And yes, we were depressed and mad and upset and angry. We were all of that. But eventually, we learn to accept the fact that we're disabled. And we adapt to it, and we move on with our lives. And we still enjoy our lives. We still do things that we used to do to some degree. We just adapt to it. We have some limitations. We know we have limitations, but it doesn't make our lives terrible. Now, I'll give you a quick example. When I was younger, my buddy's wife was a diabetic, insulin-dependent diabetic. And we were sitting in the kitchen one day at the house. She said, I'll be right back. She excused herself. She had to go give herself an insulin shot. When she came back, I said to her, I don't know how you do it. I said, if I was ever diabetic, God forgive me, I'd die from the disease because I couldn't give myself a shot. And she laughed and she said, well, if you had to do it, you would. Nope, I wouldn't do it. No way. Well, God must have heard me because a few years later, I was diagnosed as a diabetic. The endocrinologist in the beginning tried to take care of it with diet and exercise and oral medication, but that didn't work, and I ended up having to go on to insulin. At first, they gave me an insulin pen, and when they show you how to do it, you have to push the plunger down on top with your thumb. And the only thing that reminded me of is, you ever watch a war movie and a soldier gets shot and the medic comes over and they jam a shot of morphine into his leg? That's what that reminded me of. And I just couldn't do it. I just couldn't do it. So I had to ask my wife to give me these shots. That went on for about a year because during the course of that time, they changed me from an insulin pen to the hypodermic needle. And that was even worse. I didn't even want to look at that. But eventually my wife said, look, you're going to have to learn how to do this yourself, because I'm not going to be here all the time when you need your shot. Well, she showed me how to do it, and it came time for me to do my first shot on my own, and it took me an hour for the whole procedure. 10 minutes to give myself the shot, and 50 minutes to recuperate from it afterwards. But anyway, the point of this is I adapted to it, and now, years later, I have an insulin pump. I have to stick myself every 3 days, and I have to sugar test, with the finger sticks, and I have to do that 8-12 times a day. But it doesn't matter anymore. It's second nature. I don't even think about it anymore. I got to go put in a new reservoir kit. Bing, bang, boom. I stick it in, and I'm done. I have to check my sugar. I'm watching TV as I poke my fingers with a needle. It doesn't matter anymore. I've adapted to it. All right, so I just can't go out to eat and not bolus for insulin. So I adapt to that also. But that's the whole thing. We adapt to our disabilities. You think about it. Someone that was born disabled, someone that was born that was blind and can't see, they've never seen before, so they don't know anything that they're missing. It's second nature to them. That's just the way it is. I used to think I'd look at someone that was deaf and go, if I was deaf, I'd be lost. Forget about it. How do you even read sign language? But you know what? They didn't know any different, so it's just second nature to them. It's normal. So people that look at the disabled and go, oh, they have terrible lives. It's not true. It's hard sometimes, but we adapt. We adapt and we overcome. So we're going to talk a lot more about this on the podcast this week. I hope you join us. Okay, the new episode will be out on Friday, and I'll talk to you then. Have a great week, my friends. Enjoy yourselves.
Thanks for listening to An Apple a Day with Jimmy Apple, your gateway to a happy, healthy life. Join our community at www.famousapple.com. See you next time.